The Kingdom Beyond the Eternal Mist.
The village of Alarin had always lived side by side with the mist. Every morning, a thick silver fog would descend from the northern hills, wrapping the trees, the rooftops, and the narrow stone paths in silence. No one questioned it anymore. The elders would simply say, "The mist is older than memory. Let it be." But not everyone was willing to let it be. Alia stood at the edge of the forest, her eyes fixed on the shifting veil of fog before her. There was something about it, something alive. She had felt it for years now, a pull, a whisper. "Alia," her brother called from behind, "you shouldn't be here." She didn't turn. "Have you ever wondered what's inside?" "Inside the mist?" he scoffed nervously. "Everyone knows what's inside. Nothing. Just trees and stories meant to scare children." Alia finally looked back, her expression firm. "Then why do people disappear?" Silence fell between them. That was the truth no one liked to speak about. Every few years, someone would wander too far into the forest and never return. That night, Alia couldn't sleep. The wind howled softly through the cracks of her wooden window, carrying with it a faint, almost melodic hum. She sat up slowly. Her heart began to race. It was coming from outside. Drawn by something she didn't understand, Alia stepped out into the cold night air. The village was asleep. The mist, however, was not. It had crept closer than ever before, rolling into the streets, brushing against doors, whispering along the ground like it was searching for something. Or someone. The humming grew louder. And then she heard it. A voice. Come. Soft, gentle, but undeniable. Alia's breath caught. Every instinct told her to run back inside, but her feet, they moved forward instead. Step by step, she walked toward the mist. The moment her fingers touched it, the world shifted. The cold vanished, the silence broke, and the mist opened. Before her stood something impossible, a gate, towering, ancient, carved from stone that shimmered faintly with a blue glow. Symbols unknown to her danced across its surface, pulsing like a heartbeat. Alia's eyes widened. This is real. The gate slowly creaked open, and from within, a faint golden light spilled out, along with the scent of something forgotten, like a world that had been waiting for her. Alia hesitated only for a moment. Then she stepped inside, and the mist closed behind her. The moment Alia stepped through the gate, the air changed. It was warmer, alive in a way the world she knew had never been. The scent of blooming flowers filled her lungs, and a soft golden light stretched endlessly across the horizon. She turned around. The gate was gone. In its place stood only an open field, shimmering with tall grass that moved without wind. Alia's chest tightened. No, how do I go back? But before fear could fully take hold, she noticed something else. This world was not empty. In the distance, rising above the glowing plains, stood a kingdom unlike anything she had ever seen. Towers of crystal and stone pierced the sky, reflecting hues of gold, blue, and violet. Bridges of light connected structures that seemed to float above the ground. It was beautiful, and yet strangely quiet. Too quiet. Alia began to walk. Each step felt heavier, as if the world itself was watching her. The grass brushed softly against her hands, leaving behind faint sparks of light, like whispers acknowledging her presence. As she approached the gates of the kingdom, she saw them. Statues, dozens of them, lined along the path. They looked like people, men, women, even children, frozen in place with expressions of shock, fear, and longing. Alia slowed down. These were once alive. Her voice trembled. Suddenly, Not all who enter this realm are meant to leave. Alia spun around. Standing behind her was a figure cloaked in silver fabric that flowed like liquid. His eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the same light as the kingdom ahead. "Who are you?" Alia asked, her voice guarded. "I am Kale, the keeper of the veil." Alia frowned. "The veil? The mist?" Kale nodded. "The boundary between your world and this one." Alia stepped closer, her curiosity overtaking her fear. "What is this place?" Kale's gaze shifted toward the silent kingdom. "This," he said quietly, "is Athoria, the kingdom behind the eternal mist." Alia's heart pounded. "So it's real?" "It was forgotten," Kale corrected, "by your world, not by itself." Alia looked back at the statues lining the path. What happened to them? Kale didn't answer immediately. Instead, he walked past her, his steps slow and deliberate. "They came searching," he said finally, "for answers, for power, or for escape." "And?" Kale stopped. "They stayed." A chill ran through Alia's spine. "You mean they're trapped?" Kale turned slightly, his glowing eyes meeting hers. "No," he said, "they are becoming part of this world." Before Alia could respond, a deep rumble echoed across the land. The ground trembled, the sky, once golden, flickered, and for a brief moment, a shadow passed over the kingdom. Alia gasped. What was that? Kale's expression darkened for the first time. The reason this kingdom was hidden. He looked at her, more serious than before. And the reason you shouldn't have come. Alia swallowed hard. But something inside her refused to turn back. "Then tell me," she said, her voice steady despite the fear. "Why did the mist call me?" Kale stared at her in silence. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. Then he spoke. "Because," he said slowly, "you are not supposed to be here." Another rumble shook the ground, stronger this time, and somewhere, deep within the kingdom, something awakened. The ground had not stopped trembling. Alia stood frozen as the distant kingdom of Athoria flickered between light and shadow. The golden glow that once felt warm now seemed fragile, like it could shatter at any moment. "What is happening?" Alia whispered. Kale didn't answer immediately. His gaze was fixed far beyond the crystal towers, towards something unseen. "It has begun," Kale murmured. Alia stepped closer. "What has begun?" Before Kale could respond, a sharp crack echoed through the air. One of the statues along the path moved. Alia gasped as a faint line of light spread across its surface. Slowly, painfully, the stone began to peel away, like something inside was trying to break free. A hand emerged, then another. The statue collapsed to the ground, revealing a man beneath him, his skin pale, his eyes glowing faintly with the same eerie light as the kingdom. He took a shaky breath. I remember," he whispered. Alia's eyes widened. "He's alive." Kale's expression darkened. "No, not entirely." The man lifted his head, his glowing eyes locking onto Alia. And then he screamed, a sound filled with agony and something far worse, emptiness. Dark cracks spread across his body. The faint light within him twisted and turned black. Within seconds, he dissolved into dust. Alia stumbled back, her heart racing. What was that? Kale finally turned to her, his voice low and heavy. "The kingdom is breaking." Alia shook her head. "You said they become part of this world, so why did he—" "Because the balance is failing." Alia froze. "Balance?" Kale took a slow breath, as if deciding how much to reveal. "Athoria was never meant to be just a kingdom. It is a seal." Alia's chest tightened. "A seal? For what?" Kale looked toward the horizon, where darkness now lingered like a stain across the sky. For something that should never exist. Silence followed. Then, long ago, Kale continued, this world was whole. Light and shadow lived in equilibrium, but one force grew beyond control. The shadow? Alia asked softly. Kale nodded. It was not just darkness, it was hunger. It consumed everything, memories, identities, even time itself. Alia felt a chill run through her entire body. And to stop it, Kale's eyes met hers. The kingdom was built around it, a prison hidden behind the mist. Alia's voice trembled. Then the people who come here, they feed the seal. Kale didn't deny it. They become part of the barrier that keeps the shadow contained. Alia's breathing became uneven. That's not balance, that's cruelty. Kale's expression tightened. It was the only way. Another tremor shook the ground stronger than before. This time it came from within the kingdom. A deep, echoing roar followed. Not human, not beast, something older. Alia clutched her chest. That thing, it's waking up, isn't it? Kale didn't answer, because they both already knew the truth. Suddenly, the air around Alia shifted. The light in the grass dimmed. The world grew quiet, too quiet. And then, a whisper. Not from outside, from within her. You finally came. Alia's breath caught. Her eyes widened. No, that's not... Images flooded her mind. A throne, a broken crown, a figure standing in darkness, and those same glowing eyes, her eyes. Alia fell to her knees, gasping. Kale rushed toward her. Alia! She looked up at him, fear and confusion colliding in her voice. It knows me. Kale froze. For the first time, uncertainty appeared in his eyes. That's impossible. Alia shook her head, tears forming. It called me, not the mist. It was that thing. Another roar split the sky. The shadow over the kingdom expanded. Cracks of darkness spread across the ground like veins. Kale stepped back slowly. His voice dropped to a whisper. Then this is far worse than I thought. Alia looked at him, trembling. What do you mean? Kale stared directly into her eyes. Because if it called you, he paused, then you are not just part of this story. The ground shattered beneath them, and from the heart of Athoria, darkness began to rise. Darkness did not rise slowly. It erupted. From the heart of Etheria, a column of black energy burst into the sky, tearing through the fragile golden light. The ground split apart, and veins of shadow crawled outward like living things. Alia could barely stand. Kale, what is happening? She shouted, her voice shaking. Kale's eyes were fixed on the spreading darkness, his expression grim. The seal is collapsing. Another violent tremor struck the land. In the distance, parts of the crystal kingdom began to fracture, their glowing surfaces dimming as if life itself was draining away. No, Alia whispered. There has to be a way to stop it. Kale turned to her sharply. There is. Hope flickered in Alia's chest. Then tell me. But Kale didn't answer immediately. Instead, he stepped closer, his glowing eyes searching hers, as if confirming something he had begun to fear. When the shadow was sealed, he said slowly, it was not done by power alone. Alia's breath caught. It required a vessel. Her heart began to pound. A vessel? She repeated. Kale nodded. Someone who could hold both light and shadow, someone strong enough to contain it, yet human enough to remain bound by this world. Alia took a step back. No, you don't mean... Kale continued. The royal bloodline of Etheria was created for that purpose. The world seemed to tilt beneath Alia's feet. I don't belong here, she said quickly. I'm not part of this kingdom. Kale didn't move. You crossed the veil without being consumed. You heard the call, and it recognized you. Alia shook her head, panic rising. That doesn't mean anything. But deep down, she knew it did. The whisper returned, stronger this time. You cannot run from what you are. Alia clutched her head, her vision blurring. Stop! Stop it! Images flooded her mind again, clearer now. A throne room, a crown placed upon her head, Kale kneeling before her, and behind her, endless darkness, breathing. Alia screamed. A surge of energy exploded from her body, knocking Kale backward. The ground beneath her cracked, and for a moment, her eyes glowed. Not gold, not light, but the same deep, endless black. Kale stared in shock. It's true, he whispered. Alia collapsed to her knees, gasping for air. What is happening to me? Kale rose slowly, his expression no longer uncertain, but resolved. You are the last heir of Etheria. Alia froze. No, you were sent away, hidden beyond the veil when the shadow began to awaken centuries ago. Alia's voice trembled. That's impossible. I grew up in Alarin. I have a family. A family who found you, not one who knew what you truly are. Silence fell. The truth pressed against Alia's chest like a weight she couldn't escape. Then why call me back? She asked, barely able to speak. Kale looked toward the rising darkness. Because the seal is failing, and it needs its vessel. Alia's eyes filled with fear. You mean it wants me? Kale didn't answer. He didn't need to. A deafening roar tore through the sky. The shadow surged higher, forming a shape, vast, shifting, almost alive. And then it looked at her. Alia felt it, not as sight, but as presence. It knew her. It had always known her, and now it was reaching. The ground beneath the kingdom shattered completely. A deep voice echoed, not in the air, but inside her very soul. Come back to where you belong. Alia's body trembled violently. Kale stepped forward, urgency in his voice. You have to choose, now. Alia looked at him, her eyes filled with fear, confusion, and something new, power. What choice? She asked. Kale didn't hesitate. Become the seal and save both worlds. Alia's breath caught. Or? The darkness surged again, closer now. Let it take you. The sky cracked open, and for the first time, Alia felt herself standing between two destinies. The sky was breaking. Fragments of golden light shattered into the darkness as the shadow rose higher, stretching across Etheria like a living storm. The ground trembled beneath Alia's feet, cracks spreading in every direction. She stood at the center of it all, between two worlds, between two destinies. Alia, Kale called out, his voice almost lost in the chaos. You don't have much time. The darkness pulsed again, stronger, closer. It was no longer waiting. It was coming. Alia closed her eyes. For a moment, everything faded. The trembling ground, the roaring sky, even the fear inside her. And in that silence, she saw them. Her life in Alarin. The laughter, the quiet mornings, her brother's voice calling her name. Then, Etheria, the broken kingdom, the statues, the people who never returned, and the truth. This world was not meant to survive like this, not through sacrifice, not through fear. Alia opened her eyes. There was something new in them now, not just fear, not just power, but clarity. There has to be another way, she said. Kale's expression tightened. Alia, She continued, her voice steady. I won't become a prison, and I won't let it destroy everything. The shadow roared, louder than before, as if reacting to her defiance. Alia stepped forward, toward it. Alia, stop, Kale shouted, but she didn't. Instead, she raised her hand, trembling at first, then steady. The darkness surged, reaching for her, and she let it. The moment it touched her, pain exploded through her body. Memories, voices, fragments of something ancient flooding her mind. She gasped, but she didn't pull away. Listen to me, she whispered. Her voice wasn't just her own anymore. It echoed, deep, resonant. You don't have to consume to exist. The shadow hesitated. For the first time, it stopped. Alia stepped closer, her glowing eyes now holding both light and darkness. You were never meant to be sealed, she said softly. You were meant to be balanced. The world held its breath. Kale watched, unable to move. This kingdom, this seal, was built out of fear, Alia continued, and fear is what broke it. Alia stepped one final step. Then, she reached into the darkness, not to fight, not to destroy, but to understand. Light burst from her chest, pure, radiant. At the same time, the darkness within her rose to meet it. For a moment, the two forces collided. Then, they merged. A wave of energy swept across Athoria. The cracks in the ground began to heal. The sky, once shattered, slowly reformed. The shadow, no longer monstrous, softened, shrinking, dissolving into something calmer, quieter, balanced. Alia fell to her knees as the light faded. The world was still. For the first time, truly still. Kale rushed to her side. Alia, are you... She looked up at him. Her eyes were normal again, but different, deeper. It's over, she said softly. Kale looked around. The statues were gone. In their place stood people, real, breathing, alive. The kingdom of Athoria shone once more, not in fragile gold, but in a steady, living light. No, Kale whispered in disbelief. This was never possible. Alia smiled faintly. It was, she said. We just never tried. Kale looked at her, something like respect, and something deeper forming in his eyes. What will you do now? He asked. Alia turned toward the horizon. Beyond it, she could almost see the faint outline of her old world. I won't run from who I am, she said, but I won't be trapped by it either. A soft mist began to gather again, not thick, not suffocating, but gentle, alive. A bridge between worlds. Alia took a step forward, then paused. She glanced back at Kale. You'll protect this place. Kale nodded. Not as a prison, as a home. Alia smiled. Then, she walked into the mist, and this time, it didn't close behind her.